Welcome back to Count Me In. Today we're joined by Sharrin Fuller, serial entrepreneur, founder and strategic advisor at Glasswall Ventures, and a true expert in scaling accounting firms. Sharrin shares her real-world experiences, from pain points of hiring and firing to recognizing when adding staff isn't the answer, and how smart systems and automation can transform your business. In this conversation, we unpack the mindset and workflow shifts needed to truly scale, practical strategies for integrating automation, and how to keep the human connection at the heart of your client relationships. Sharrin also opens up about the emotional challenges of change, the art of balancing empathy with tough decisions, and the skills today's accountants need to future-proof their careers. Whether you're leading a growing team or just starting out, you won't want to miss Sharrin's honest advice, proven strategies, and inspiration for building a scalable, sustainable firm in the age of automation. Sharrin, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Excited to have you here. And I wanted to start our conversation talking a little bit about scaling because you're an expert in that. And at what point do you kind of realize that scaling a firm doesn't necessarily mean adding more people? Because I think people have like something in their heads when they think about scaling their organization.
At what point do they realize it? I think they realize it when they've been throwing people at it for a while and they're just, what they start posting is, why can't I find anybody that can help me? I can't find anybody that can do the job. Nobody can keep up with it. I'm like, that isn't a people problem. That's a systems problem. And what that tells me is they haven't prepared to actually properly hire anyone. Instead of looking at what the issue is, I'll just hire someone to do it. But the problem is most of the people that are good at that or can run a business like that are running their own business, especially in the accounting world. So you're going to get people that are very good at the craft, at the actual work itself, but not necessarily the back end in the organization, which is where an accountant or the owner should absolutely be setting up their firm how they want it.
Yeah, that can be difficult, especially if maybe you're good at one thing and you're saying, I'm going to start my own firm, and then you get going and then you realize there's a lot of other things that you might not be an expert in, but you need to scale to grow to continue the
Yes.
business going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always fun to find somebody else who's got multiple hats. So when you first start a company, you don't have a lot of money. And so you hire people like, hey, this person will be my assistant, my bookkeeper, and my operations manager, and all these things. But then what happens is as you grow, a lot of times people don't want to let go. And you add in
Mm.
people and you're adding them into the wrong place. A lot of times you add things just to get off your plate. But again, you're taking it off your plate and you're asking somebody else to do it, but they're not doing it the way you want to do it because they don't know, because you haven't documented it. So again, it just comes everything. Whenever I see that people are having a large turnover, they can't find the right people. It's one of two things. One, terrible, terrible management. You have something that you have a bad company culture and nobody wants to be there. Or two, you don't have a system set up and you're hiring on all these what are possibly amazing people and you're setting them up to fail. And I only say this because I did it for years. I have hired and fired ridiculous amounts of people. And for the longest time, I'm like, these people are terrible. I'm like, oh, whoops. When I finally took a step back, I'm like, they weren't terrible. They just had no proper leadership. They were doing what they thought was good, but it's not their company. I didn't want them to do it that way. But how was that their fault? It was my fault. So, and of course, as we all know, hiring is so time consuming. It's costly. And when you're training somebody, they're getting it or they aren't. And everybody learns in a different way. And so your ROI on an employee, when you hire someone, it's like 90 days. You have to assume that first 90 days, you're typically not making money. So you need to really be able to streamline that as fast as possible. I think I get it down to how I finally had it was probably about 30 because I systemized and automated our entire onboarding process. And people were able to go back and look at the training back and forth. So when I actually was hiring for the role I needed, they didn't have to go, oh crap, what did Sharrin say that one time? I can't remember how she said do this. And so they're like, oh, whoops, there it is. I can go back and relearn this anytime I want. So it was honestly after, like I said, hiring, firing, realizing wherever I go, I'm like, oh, they used to work for me. Why don't they work for me? Oh, they couldn't do their job. And I'm like, Sharrin, the only common denominator here is you. You are the common denominator. There's no way you hired 100 people and they were all terrible. There's just no way. Like, it's just, I mean, of course, a few of them were, but then that's why you also learn, let's try to not hire people if we don't have to.
Yeah. So first, that must have been taking some humble pie to recognize that and
Yeah.
say, "Okay,
Yeah.
it's me. Okay, let me work on me first." Like
As
that
Taylor
can't
Swift
be
says, I got the
easy.
shirt that says, "It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me." Before I knew that was her song, and I've been wearing that. And I'm
Sure.
like, because I'm always like, it's me. It's not you. It's really me. I own
Yeah.
that.
So it sounds like using technology is a great way of kind of helping scaling and doing that. And so maybe like how do you look at different tasks and saying, okay, this is something that's for that should stay with somebody should still do this manually, or no, this is a task that like
Yes.
what's that process look like for you?
So excited you said this. So I have a community now. I sold my last firm and I have a community and I'm just, advising accountant firms owners. And just yesterday, I created this whole hire versus automate and capacity worksheet. So first of all, what's your capacity? Second,
Hmm.
what can be automated, okay, or what can come off your plate, and then let's decide, do you automate or hire? And what I really have it look at is my two big deciding factors is, one, is this repeatable? Is this a repeatable
Hmm.
measurable process step? Is it the same thing over and over? If it's a yes, then go to the next step. Does this need human supervision? Does a person physically have to touch it, talk to it, do something? If the answer is no, that is an automation. So I can set it up, it can repeat. I don't need to actually physically be a part of it, automate. Now, if it's something that, it's a if end or and or if, and I really need to talk to the people, you can't automate that. You need a person for it, and that calls for training. So I went through about almost a year and a half ago in my firm. I was not practicing what I was teaching, and I had 12 people on my team, but everybody was underwater. And I'm thinking, we don't even have enough hours to substantiate any of you being full time,
Yeah.
let yet underwater. And I went through and I'm like, okay, we're all bottlenecking each other. Everybody, these three jobs are just managing whether or not these jobs are getting done. So I went in and did that same thing with all the tasks. I'm like, automate, 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 automate it. Narrowed it down to two people from 12, three including
Wow.
myself. And then once we did that, we brought in technology. Not only do we have the higher net profit margin because I no longer have that overhead of employees, my two people that I came on were only working 30 hours a week. And we had this
Wow.
beautiful system process in place. And they're so happy. So finally, when I sold the company, of course, it sold for 2x revenue because it's a plug and play that you don't even have to do anything.
Hmm.
You just sign the new paperwork and it can keep going because everything is so automated. But like you said, humble pie, ate a lot of it before I just listened to what I was teaching other people to do.
It is interesting how when we're telling other people to do things and then we recognize we're doing that same thing ourselves and we forget that to apply what we've told other people to do. Happens all the time with my kids. I'll be like telling them to do something and then later I'm doing the same thing I told them not to do. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dang it,
They're like,
I should listen to
Dad.
myself.
Yes, I know. Well, they always say a housekeeper's house is always messiest. So I was
That's
thinking of it
true.
like that. I'm like, I'm so busy doing all these things. And I also know as an accountant, I could jump in at any point in time and fix whatever's going on, but it's just not sustainable. It's not scalable.
Yeah.
If one of my team members are out of office, what does anybody come in and do? If we can't see step by step, and I told them, I'm like, as we're building these SOPs and these templates, I'm going to build them like it's this client for dummies. And you
Hmm.
can, some of the things you're gonna be like, this is dumb. I already know I have to do this. That's fine. Check it off. Takes you a fraction of a second. But if somebody else comes in that's never done this task before, they are not going to miss a beat. Every single stop and every deliverable in that task is there that you have to click off, and it's got the instructions of how to do it. So it took a little bit of time, it took about 4 months to really, no, not four, maybe three, to automate, systematize, template everything. And then my team that was left was like, all right, now we know if we go to do something and it's not in our project management tool, I need to launch a template. But I can't launch a template because if I launch a template, that means there should have been a statement of work, which means the client paid, and that automates, right? So there's this whole
Yeah.
automation flow. So they come to me, hey, Sharon, this person wants this. Okay, go quote it. Well, there's no statement of work, or there's no service in the anchor. I would go create the service form because I'm very specific. Tie it out to a template. So it's just, again, this whole flow to where they know it's a stop. It's a stop. I can't do this. They haven't paid, or
Yeah.
there's not a process for it.
And that
So I
helps you
went from
continuously
working, oh,
improve
sorry.
the process, right?
Absolutely. And it also made it to where my accounting firm, the reason I ended up selling is because my passion, I just didn't have the passion, but I was also only working like 3 to maybe 5 hours a week in on my firm. And it was really only we'd have check-in calls where it was more of like, how was your weekend? And then they would come to me and go, hey, Sure, we need a process for this, or can you give me a template for this? So that's all I was doing, was creating process and template, because they had everything else under control. They didn't
Hmm.
need me. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was tired of it. So now that's what I'm doing for other people, because it's so fun. That's the part I liked.
That's I mean, that is really cool being able to do that. And I wanna kind of dive into the AI and automation and working with those programs because a lot of times accounting firms, you have your set ways and it's hard to make changes. And so, making maybe we can start with like what is it like kind of taking that first step, and what are some questions you should be asking yourself or your organization and saying, hey, like so that you can start making these changes that you're talking about.
So I always tell people, make the list of the things that you're doing that you're like, why am I doing this? I shouldn't be doing this.
Okay.
And then make a list of
Yeah.
things that you're doing that you're like, I do the same thing every day over and over and over again. And so basically what you're doing is saying, okay, let's get this off my plate. Let's automate this. And then I like to say, make the fire list. What things are you do you that are on fire? Either you're holding people up, they're like, hey, I can't get this done. Honestly, start with the fire list. Let's figure out the fire list, because that's where you're a dependency trap and everybody's depending on you. And most every single owner that I talk to that has issues, it's because of that. They're stuck. Everything goes to them, and that's where it dies. They hold it up. So then their employees can't get things done. Their clients are upset, and the employees are demotivated because the clients are yelling at them, and you're telling the employee just figure it out, and they can't. It's just this whole, and it's scary. It's scary because the
Yeah.
minute you take that off your plate, that you're holding it, right? The minute you take it off your
Hmm.
plate, you're handing it to somebody else and you don't have the control. So as an accountant, being an accountant who doesn't like change, who's very set in my systems and processes, I always like to say, just pick one thing, take it off your plate, let's set it up correctly, and just watch it. Even if you got back
Hmm.
10 minutes a day, that's, 50 minutes a week, almost 4 hours, 3.5 hours a month. But you've gotten that time back and you can watch it and then go to the next thing until you're comfortable, right? It's just like baby steps. And then when you come up with what works for you, you can start transitioning more. But it's scary. It's a scary thing, especially when you're the owner and your whole life depends on it. Your employees' lives depend on it. You have clients you've had for forever. And if you let them down, they're going to be upset with you personally.
Hmm.
It's just owning a business, especially when you're like a sole practitioner or smaller and you're not a corporation. It's very personal. It's a personal thing, and you take everything personally. So every decision that you make tends to be emotionally driven, which is where a lot of us fail in business. Unfortunately, there's got to be a good mix of the two. But when we're driven by more of our emotion than we are of actual logic and facts,
Hmm.
that's where we fail, unless you're running a prayer circle. But even still,
Sure.
there's still the business aspect of that. You've got to be able to separate.
So how do you
That was a
balance
lot.
that emotions? Yeah, I like there's a lot there. There's a lot I want to touch on, but like, how do you kind of balance emotions and getting the business done? Because obviously your heart's in it. You're doing it. You run
Oh
this
yeah.
firm. You started it. You're putting your heart and soul into it. So how do you balance making good business decisions with, you have the passion for it?
A lot of times you need a sounding board, somebody who isn't emotionally invested, which is where a good mentor
Yeah.
and coach and a strategic advisor comes in, somebody who can look in and go, hold on. I get it, but I am telling you, I was very fortunate to where my director of operations, she started with me 8 years ago, 3 companies ago. And she started as my personal assistant to my EA to director of operations. And she came with me across, she followed me, but she was very good about saying, Sharon, stop, let's talk about this. And even she knows that I'm a very empathetic person. So if we were going to fire, she knew if I was deciding I was going to fire someone because I would be sick. She'd be like, "Who are we going to fire? You've been sick, like you've been nauseous and sick." And not, I'm like, I know I would feel terrible because
Yeah.
regardless of how awful that employee was, I remember what it felt like to get fired. That panic of how am I going to pay my bills? Oh my God, I have to tell my spouse. What am I going to do? That terribleness. I just felt that. Even if they're awful, I still felt that. But I
Yeah.
had that one person that I could go to and say, hey, let's talk about this. And, it's not that I don't have my husband, but when you're in relationships, they tend to want to fix it and help you. And
Hmm.
you're like, I just need somebody non-biased that's just going to
Yeah.
go, listen, that's a terrible idea. And my director of operations, her name's Monica. It was good because she was like, if you make this decision, it's going to screw up my world. And then when you realize it was bad, it's going to screw up my world when we put it back. So she was like, don't do this. So there was a really good line there, but you gotta have somebody on the outside looking in, unless you're a
Yeah.
cutthroat business person. And if you are, that's a whole other story.
That's a whole
Probably don't
other
have a lot of team
conversation.
members. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That was something that pops in my head because you mentioned like you had this team and then you were down to two people. What was that like kind of making that adjustment? Because it's not easy. It can't,
Miserable,
like you just said,
miserable.
it's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then letting people go regardless of what the reason is, or regardless how wonderful you were when they worked for you, they hate you. They now hate you, and I think that's the
Yeah.
hardest part is I'm always very close with my team and until you're not. And when you go to let somebody go, it's cold. You cannot sit down and have a heart to heart because you just ruin the world and they're angry at you and they're coming at you. So you have to be as vague as possible until they sign that separation agreement, which gives them I always tell them, I said, I will tell you anything you want to know after you sign the separation agreement. But for now, this just isn't working out. And I'm really sorry. And you kind of just have to leave it at that. It just makes you come off as the biggest B word ever. But
Yeah.
you have to, because as I'm letting somebody go, I now have to protect the rest of my team, my
Yeah.
clients. I have other people, so that was hard. Letting go of that many people
Hmm.
was hard. And do I even talk like a couple of them? Some of them are good. I stay in contact with if it's really nice. I'm like, I will help you get another job. And I do. I
Yeah.
find them a new job and I stay in contact. I probably have a handful I still talk to, but some of them are just so angry. And again, it was my fault. Probably the reason I let them go. I mean, that whole me having 12 people on my team was my fault.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's never a good feeling to ruin someone's life, even if it's just for the day or the weekend or, it's never good. So I just try not to get in that situation anymore. That's why I'm like technology. I don't even care. I'll just disconnect the robot and I'm good. But people, you can't just disconnect. Especially in this industry, it's
Yeah.
small.
It's very small, and then, like, that human aspect because you care about people. You're like, I know I'm ruining your life, but I have to make this decision from a business
Yeah.
perspective, and finding that balance of, like, I care for you, but I'm sorry, I can't work you can't work for
Yeah.
me anymore, and that's
Yeah.
never an easy conversation ever.
No, especially not when you used to hire your friends and family. Like I hired the
Yeah.
last time I hired a friend is, I didn't make the decision, but my team, they just, I got her the interview. She got herself the job.
Mhm.
Okay. I
Yeah.
got her the front line for the interview, but she lost herself the job. My managers came in and said, this person has to go. We have no faith in them. And I can't say no,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
that person then cut me and my husband off for a year, and it was somebody we were very close with. Fortunately, it's not the same anymore as it was beforehand. We're probably like 80% of what our friendship was, which is bad because they were so close. So now I just am like, don't hire your friends and family because one day you'll have to fire your friends and family, and not everybody's going to take it well. Some people don't care. I fired my sister 3 times. She doesn't care. She keeps coming back. I have a job. I'm like, I'll give you a task, which is stupid on my part. But then she doesn't get it done. I'm like, you're out of here. Why do I keep doing this? But she doesn't care.
Yeah.
If I had a friend who I'm like, you are not working. Like you were literally, I can see you're literally not only are you not working, you're logging hours to a client that you've done no work on. So you're stealing from me. I have to let you go. I hate you. I'm like, we were friends for like 4 years and now you hate me because you stole from me. I mean, come on, man. I'm not even asking for the money back. But so there's always different situations, but still people. Still
Mhm.
sucks. Still have to live
Yeah.
with it.
It is hard. Like, I remember back in the 2008 bubble crisis, I was working in a customer service place and I was one of the leads, and they brought us all to a room like, "Hey, we're firing half the staff today. You guys are all safe. Just keep people answering phones." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, you have to kind of keep encouraging people to keep
God.
doing their job when somebody's walking around tapping them on the shoulder and then that person's being escorted out. Like, it's just it's such a delicate situation.
It's terrible, and you just reminded me of something. I don't think I've ever told this story. I used to before I used to work for this company. It was a fractional controller CFO firm, and they were letting go. We were small. There were only like 8 of us. And they were letting go one of the gals that worked there. We were all very close with, but they didn't tell any of us. But the morning that she was coming back from her wedding, she was her honeymoon. It was her first day back at work. And they said out of the blue, "Hey guys, we're going to go to breakfast." And we're like, "Well, where's Christina?" "Oh, she's going to be a little late today. She wasn't coming in till 10, but we're going to go get breakfast." So they take us, all the rest of us, to breakfast. And I'm like, "Oh, Christina will join us." Again, small group. And while we're sitting at the table, they go, "We just want to let you know Christina's being let go right now." I'm like, I was pissed. I said, "This feels skeezy.
Yeah.
We are a small team. This should have been a conversation. The way you did this was terrible." Like, they're like, "Well, we didn't want to put you guys on the spot. We didn't want you to be there when she was cleaning out her desk." I'm like, I get that, but come on. You take us to breakfast under the guise of, "Oh, let's go have breakfast." And then you just tell us, "Oh, when you go back, she's gone. And now you're gonna have to do all our work." And we like could see we were at the restaurant across the street. I could see her like carrying her stuff out in a box. And I just remember I lost so much respect for them there because I just didn't think it was the way to handle it. But on the flip side, now after owning a business and having employees, I get why they did what they did. They wanted to make
Hmm.
it, I don't think they were being mean. I think they meant it nice. Take them to breakfast, let them down lightly. Christina's
Hmm.
going to come in. That's going to stink either way, but at least she won't be there to be embarrassed. Like, at least she won't be embarrassed
Yeah.
while she's gathering her stuff. It's not going to cause a commotion. So again, I like to play devil's advocate whenever I do things. So I see it from, which helps, right? Because now I know how I felt as
Hmm.
the employee, as a coworker, but now I also know
Yeah.
how it felt as an owner. So, and there's just, honestly, I don't know if there's a right way.
There's
I just don't.
I don't th Yeah, people always try different ways. Like, one time I was put into a room and they're saying, "You guys are all good. You have to leave out this door. Everybody else is like, who's not in this room is being let go." And you're like, "Wait, what?" And so, like,
I
I
know.
understand why they do it because they're like, they don't want to interact. You never know how somebody's going to react. They could fly off the handle and they don't want other people to, like,
Yeah.
so it's for safety purposes. But I don't think, like you said, I don't think there is like a perfect way to do that.
I think it's a communication. I think it's a look.
Yeah.
I think you just have to be really vulnerable and transparent to at least the rest of the team. Look, we're not going to tell you
Hmm.
why this, this is never easy. And we understand if you're upset, please come talk to us. But we did this because
Yeah.
of this. And I think that's where I started in my business, becoming super transparent, maybe a little vulnerable sometimes. And it's probably came back and kicked me a few times, but I still don't regret it because when I started doing that, people understood. And I think situations where breakers were like, "Okay, I don't love this, but thank you so much for telling me. So at least I understand." And then you have to be careful what you say. My lawyer is always like, "Don't say that." I'm like, "Well, what word should I not say?"
Yeah.
And like I said, usually it's a very vague, "Sign your separation agreement," which means you can't sue me. And then let's work on this. But knock on wood, I've never had a termination lawsuit. Just angry people. But again, that's where tech comes in. My Roomba is never going to fire me when I say, "I'm done with you. I'm getting a shark." Or it's ever going to, try to ruin my life. It's just like, cool. So that is why now I'm growing everything we do. I'm like, no more people, no people, whatever we can do to bring in no people. And if we get to a point, someone's like, I'm overloaded. I'm like, let's figure out what we can take off your plate to give you time back. Cause I don't want any more people. I can't do it. I just can't. So it sounds so terrible.
It's interesting. It's the wave of the future, and when I have these conversations about AI, people are like, firms aren't going to change. It's just going to be a tool in your toolkit, and in some ways, it is. But in some places, that is going to happen. It's the reality that jobs are going to be changing or lost or adjusted because of these
Yeah.
new tools.
Absolutely. I mean, anything, like I said, repetitive, measurable, it can be automated if it's repetitive. It's if you can put rules in place. And not only, I do agree that it is going to help firms, it's going to be a right hand, but that it's also going to be a right hand to everybody else. So if you can't
Hmm.
give some sort of value outside of AI, there is no
Yeah.
reason for your client to go to you because they can use Chat GPT just like you can. So you have to find
Hmm.
some sort of, I tell people, if you don't have a human connection, if you can't find some relationship in what you do in the accounting industry, you will likely lose clients to very automated, just done real quick. They would rather just get it done. I don't even want to talk to anybody. So you really have to build those relationships. That's who we got rid of everybody in my company. If they didn't have a client facing relationship that needed to be there, they were gone because I can automate what you do. And again, it's such a terrible thing to say, but it really, everybody should really be thinking that. Can my job be automated? Oh, it can. Let
Yeah.
me find what I can do that as of right now can't be automated and then work your way into that. Companies are loving that. Like if you work a small thing and you come up with an idea, tell them, hey, I found a way to make my job replaceable, but also recreating revenue for the company. And I even gave all my team, I told them at the beginning of the year, anybody by the end of the year who does not have a client facing role, relationship role, I will have to remove you. I said, so let me know what you want to do. We'll create the role. We'll figure it out. And no one did. They didn't. So I was like, all right, I kind of knew this was coming. I don't know what to tell you.
So as a business owner, what does that look like? Because you have to put your trust in these tools because you're no longer trusting people, but you have to put your trust in tools. And what does that process look like? Kind of learning to trust the tools to do the work that you're trying to put out there to do.
You just got to make sure you have to stay up on your tech. Like you can't just set it and forget it
Yeah.
and walk away. You have to stay up on top of it. Example, I used Ink. I was one of the first users of Anchor. I think I'm client number 2. And in the beginning, they had a very limited open back end. And so they opened it to Zapier. And so I was writing all these apps to get things done. But then they went and created all of these things internally, which made my Zaps mess up. So I didn't keep up with how they were doing things or what the platform was. And so things weren't going right. So you have to make sure that when you're setting up these automations, that you're staying on top of your software updates. What's the new release? What are they doing? Because something you're doing might be obsolete now and you're looking like a ding dong. Or they could have done an upgrade and now it makes everything you're doing broken. But the one thing I do like about setting up automations with Zapier is if something fails, you get a message right away. So I know, okay, this didn't work. I can go in and fix it. It calls attention to it, that is the one reason that I do love when that's how things connect. Otherwise, sometimes they just don't. They don't. It won't tell you. You just kind of have to test the sequence and know you have to be documented and know the sequence, and somebody has to be able to you're basically IT now. You're overseeing your technology. That's how our roles shift. You're using automation. You are now somebody's still got to be in charge of the automation.
Yeah, and you have to have a little bit of an IT knowledge, but then you still have to know what it's
Ugh.
doing. So you have to have your accounting
Mhm.
knowledge so that you can say, "Let me
Yep.
check that work to make sure that's proper."
Yes, yes. Right before we got on, I actually set up the mail comes to me and I scan it to my assistant, and I can't stand emailing it to her and dropping it in. So I actually made it to where when I scan, it goes into an automatic folder in G Drive. And then whenever a new document goes in that G Drive, it sends her an email and it pushes a task to her project management tool that says, you have a new scan, go take care of it, please. And then in the thing, it says, you know, handle it, file it, blah, blah, whatever. It's got the to-dos, but I know that it's sent to her. And then when she gets that, I can see when she gets that task, because she'll then move the task out of the incoming or the inbox into
Mhm.
something, and I'll see she moved it, I'll see she completed. So I know the process is done. And if for some reason she didn't get that task, at least it's still in the Google box and I can go and look and see if something's in there. So I actually, just before I was hauling it real quick because I was setting up that Zap, because I'm like, I never want to have to manually send her an email for a scan again. I want to scan, be done. So now we have that set up and things like that. Just little things, right? That's time. That's effort. That's follow up. I just probably saved 10 times or 10 minutes every time I
Yeah.
scanned and not have to do that.
And it's crazy, but like you said, save that 10 minutes now and you'll save that 10 minutes tomorrow. By the end of the week, you've saved 50 minutes. That's a whole hour back in your
Yes,
and your week. And I think looking at it from
exactly.
that perspective is it kind of changes your mindset because I feel like a lot of times in firms you get in this like these are my tasks that I do. Like we become task rabbits. It's very much set up like
Mhm.
the warehouse industry, like where the factory industry, where you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And a lot of times in
Yes,
offices, we do that same thing and realizing that, hey, I can automate all of these little things. And then that frees me up to do, hey, what's that thing I've been putting off because I never have time to do it? Well, now I have time to do it because I put hour, 2 hours back in my day.
exactly. And if you quantify it and you put it into dollar amounts, it sounds even better. Like if I charge,
Yeah.
for example, $250 an hour, I give you back 250 a week, which is $1,000 a month that you can get new clients. So 10 minutes saved a day, just put $1,000 in your pocket, which is
Yeah.
$12,000 a year. Or, what is it? What am I giving you back? I don't want to do the math, but let's just say 12 grand a year. So if you
Sounds
quantify it
good.
in that, people are like, oh crap, you're right. I didn't even think of it like that. And anything that I do, I'm like, this is dumb. You just
Mhm.
create a, I think I have over 200 and I probably have close to 300 zaps now. It's pretty intense, but the minute I do something, I'm like, I never want to do that again. That was ridiculous. There's steps. I could step by step it. I can set it up in Zap. And Zap is so much better now too. Like their AI in there is awesome. You just go in and you're like,
Mhm.
hey, I want to do this. And it will set up the most complicated scenarios for you. So you really don't even have to be tech savvy. It tells you
Mhm.
step by step what to do. And before it didn't used to. That's new. I've been writing Zaps since they were, I remember, gosh, Zaps have been around for a long time, 2016, 2017, maybe earlier, but I think I started using them around 2016 to create spreadsheets and grab data. And it's just, I think with Airtable, oh, I'm old.
So when you work with a lot of accounting firms, like what do you think is kind of holding people back from making these kinds of transformational changes that we've been discussing?
Them, mental, they're stuck in their I can't, this is how I've done
Yeah.
it. Every time I've done it, it doesn't work. So I can't do it that way. I have to do it this way. Or my clients will fire me. My clients are gonna be so mad. I'm like, no, you are the professional. You are the one they hired. You dictate how you do your work. Don't let your clients dictate that. And that is like the control you have to take back first and own. And clients like a kid, hey, this is the new habit we're getting into. Our clients used to text, email, all these things. And we finally said, no, we use Client Hub. If you want to talk to us, you message us in Client Hub. Otherwise, it won't be done
Yeah.
because we can't track it. And if you have to email us something, it goes to support app because it goes to a ticketing system that we can all track and all have visibility to. So if somebody emailed or texted us, we either didn't respond or we put on autoresponder. This will not be responded to. If it is a client matter, this will not be responded to. And it was rough the first month, but I think we lost one client over it. But honestly, that was the client that we were having issues with because she wouldn't follow our process. And
Mhm.
we would have issues all the time. I'm like, this is why we're doing this, because you're sending us requests for adding payroll, removing payroll all over the place, and we can't track it. I can't track it when you're texting people and there's no
Mhm.
visibility. And so it was actually worth it. I didn't mind that we lost her because it was, she can be somebody else's accident waiting to happen. But everybody else are like, this is great. It's in one spot. Here's everything. I can put notes, I can tag
Yeah.
it. But once you do that and your clients are fine with your system, then you can start it changing internally. But if you let people do whatever they want, however they want, you're never going to be efficient. You're never going to be scalable. You're not going to have a product that people are going to want to sell because there's too much to fix. And you're going to be working all the time because everything's coming from every which way. You got to
Mhm.
streamline that stuff. So I
Yeah.
love this. I'm so passionate about this topic.
Well, when you put it that way, it's like, well, why are like, hello, that just seems like a no-brainer, but it's a lot easier. It's not as easy as that sounds, I
I don't
should
have
say.
time. I don't have time. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't have
Yeah.
time. And that's what I'm kind of solving for now is everything that I'm doing. I'm like, look, you don't have to do everything. Let's just do this one piece. This one piece will take you 15 minutes. Stay 15 minutes after work and get this done. And now you don't ever have to do that again. And like I said, it's really the baby steps of, okay, oh, well, that worked. That was different. I'm uncomfortable. But I'm going to watch it for a week. Oh, that worked. Okay, now I'm addicted and I
Yeah.
want to do another thing. It's a lot of, you lead a horse to water. I have a lot of people in my group and they'll always say, I'll get a lot of, I don't know how to do this. I need help doing this. And I'll go, okay, cool. Here's how you do it. Oh, I just haven't had time. Okay. So let's make time. And you can put everything in front of them, but they have to do it. It's kind of like a drug addict. They have to hit rock bottom. They have to hit their rock bottom, their final, I can't do this anymore. I can't go on. And then that's usually when they're like, okay, now that's not everybody, but just knowing accountants, it really is. They're like,
Mhm.
I'm in turmoil. I can get nothing done. I can't leave my desk. I'm missing everything in my kid's life. I can't, my husband forgot
Yeah.
what I look like. I haven't washed my hair in a week. Usually at that point, they're like, I will work on Saturday to fix this. Or maybe they lost a client. They're like, okay, now I've got time to fix this. But it's always something. I have to accountant rock bottom. I'm gonna coin that phrase too.
You should. I like that accountant rock bottom. As you were saying that, it kind of made me think, just what are some skills maybe that, somebody's listening to this, they're like, I want to be successful in this type of an atmosphere. So I want to prepare myself because maybe my organization isn't doing that, or maybe I'm starting my own organization. I want to be there. What are some skills or some attributes that people should be like, I should be putting these on? How should I upskill myself so that I can prepare to be ready for this type of an atmosphere?
So if you're not super tech inclined, you don't know what you're doing, listening to podcasts like this, just something to always stay
Yeah.
motivated, something to listen to what somebody did, even if you can listen to like one podcast or, webinar, something a week that'll get you amped up and motivated. Cause when you're running your own company, you're alone. You're alone. Whether you're the
Yeah.
owner, you're the solopreneur, you're alone and you don't know what anybody else is doing. I had no idea that this accounting world, I call it the accounting circuit, even existed until 2022. And so everything I had done, I had never listened to a podcast. I didn't know any of the, I just was like, this doesn't work. Let me figure this out. But if I had this community and these people to talk to and had actually known that any of this existed beforehand, I think how much easier life would have been. But you just have to be open. You have to know that don't be married to anything that you're doing.
Hmm.
Even me, I have a very set way of how I do things, but as I'm doing it, I'll look, I'm like, "Oh, maybe there's something better and I can update this." Especially when you get like you marry yourself to your technology. Like I will
Yeah.
only use this. And then I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I love when I go to conferences because I can go check out all the new technology, all the up and coming, what's there, see what they're doing. I mean, Keeper, which is now Double, is a good one. But they first started, it was just so little. They had these little cows, and it was just Kenny and Ben. And now they're Double, and they're massive, and they're going to take over the accounting world. But from where they started to where they are now, anybody that went and saw used Double 2, 3 years ago, and it's like, yeah, it just didn't do what I needed to. If they jumped in now, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm overlapping and overpaying for so much stuff and probably causing so much more time because this can actually do all those things that I was paying for plugins to do. So you really have to stay open minded. I mean,
Hmm.
you just can't, don't be set in your ways. You won't be
Yeah.
successful if you're set in your ways.
It's okay to be a little uncomfortable. I think that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
don't go so set that you're not willing to say, "Well, I'm not used to this." Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Get used to it or try it out and see what
Yeah.
happens.
And know your numbers. Accountants are terrible at this. They
Yeah.
know all their clients' numbers. They can tell you everything about their clients, but they don't know their own. They don't know. I actually just created this worksheet as well about knowing it's about your revenue floor, understanding your clients, how much you're actually making on them, what you should be making. Anyhow, this whole thing, and it really makes you go, oh, man, maybe my biggest client has the least amount of profit and they take up the most amount of time. So my first business that I started, I had all the software as a service companies, VC backed. So they were all very large. My average client was $3,500 a month, right? So I had less clients, bigger, a lot more money, but I had to have a much bigger team. It was very high touch, very customizable. I could not automate hardly anything because it was very, very relationship bound. So when we did the new firm, I'm like, I want very low touch, cash based, very easy clients. So whereas the client at the new firm, our average was $750 a month, but we would spend 2 hours a month on the client. So my profit margin was like 10 times higher on the easy model than it was the big one. Because when you actually sit and look at it side by side, you're like, oh man, am I just doing this so I could brag? I just landed a $5,000 client. Yeah, but it costs you $4,800 to service it. Is that
Yeah.
smart? I mean, you made $200. Woo! So, I mean, you have to know your numbers.
Yeah, you have to know your numbers. You have to kind of be in it, but from a strategic perspective as opposed to in it like micromanaging it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just treat your business like and if you can't do it, let somebody have somebody do it for you. If you can't do it,
Yeah.
I love it. I've always known my numbers. I was very big about knowing every single client and whether or not we went over or if they're profitable. And that's how because we had a lot of relationship pricing back then and that's how we measured it. But if I would have known that, we would have lost our rear ends because you have to keep an eye. Otherwise you're hiring more people, but your revenue didn't change. You're like, wait a second, what's going on here? How do we have more work, but no more money? Yeah, know your numbers.
Yeah, know your numbers. Well, Sharon, this has been an amazing conversation. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing what you've learned over the years and what you're doing. And I hope that our audience has enjoyed it as much as I have.
I do too. I just want to say, whenever this goes, if anybody would like to join my community, I am off. It is free until the end of March. And if you mention this, I will send you a book. I do have a book. I don't think we mentioned that, but I did write a book. So I will send them that as well.
Cool. Well, make sure to put links in the show notes so people can check that out and connect with Sharon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. I enjoyed being here.
This has been Count Me In, IMA's podcast, providing you with the latest perspectives of thought leaders from the accounting and finance profession. If you like what you heard and you'd like to be counted in for more relevant accounting and finance education, visit IMA's website at www.imanet.org.